Ken's team in Orlando sold $280 million last year. But if you're a buyer or a seller or just a homeowner in Orlando, you probably would not know that his business is that big. And it's because he doesn't flaunt how big his business is or how he is the #1 or top realtor in a certain area. After watching one of his videos, his expertise, it's obvious. His passion and love for Orlando, Disney, and theme parks all shine through his videos. And Ken's YouTube channel is the epitome of stop chasing leads, start attracting clients. While everybody talks about giving value, Ken actually does this through his videos. And that is why I want to break down exactly his models for success and his frameworks of how he was able to get from a couple hundred subscribers to over 30,000 subscribers. And his YouTube channel has only been around for about 4 to 5 years. This is how he's taken his business from under 50 million to 5xing that business to a $280 million business. And while YouTube isn't his only source of business, obviously, it has become a paramount lead source for bringing in clients to his business. In this video, I'm gonna break down his exact content strategy, what it used to be, and how it's evolved over time, and what he's actually doing right now. And then what I wanna do is I wanna dissect 2 videos because I wanna look at his storytelling framework that keeps the retention rate. And this is exactly how he gets tens of thousands of views every single month, like clockwork. And then at the end, what I'm gonna do is distill all of his videos, and I'm gonna point out the 3 common threads that make up his core principles, at least from my point of view, that come in every single video that he makes, so that we could take this framework and these models for success and we can use it for our own brand and our businesses as well. So let's get into it. He has 3 core buckets that he creates content for. Bucket number 1 is life in Orlando. Bucket number 2 is real estate insights. And then bucket number 3 is theme parks in Disney. And the most intriguing thing is, which I'll get into a little bit later, is bucket number 3, because I think this has become one of his secrets to success that not many people necessarily talk about, at least talking about the psychology behind it and why it brings in business. So what I did is I broke down his 30 highest performing videos and then his most recent 30 videos so that we could kind of take a look at the differences. And I did this through a lens of a more general type of video so that this way we can objectively see, okay, what did he do in the past and what is he doing now and what's been that change, and possibly try to look into why that change has happened. In his highest performing top 30 videos, these are videos that have 20,000 views to well over 200,000 views. And I broke these up into very general categories so that we could take a look at the change. And the first category is home tours. And he has 8 of these style of videos. And these are like when you go to see a new home tour or a luxury listing or a regular listing, and that's that bucket. And he has 8. And then in the next category is community or neighborhood style videos. And in this category, 14 of his 30 highest performing videos are community style videos. The third category is newsjacking. This is talking about trending topics, whether it's nationally or locally. In this category, he has over 5 videos. And then in the last category, this is informational style videos. And this is talking about like buyer, seller tips and other things like that. This makes complete sense when you're starting a YouTube channel that you want to do evergreen content that gets searched. And this helps you build a foundation, and this content lasts longer than the span of just say 1 year or the market. This community and neighborhood style videos have longer shelf life, and that's the benefit of doing them. That is probably why he did over 14 of them. And then because of that, he can send people this video forever talking about this certain neighborhood. It is just a highly researched area because the average person who's making a big purchasing decision spends about 79 days. And someone who's moving to an area like Orlando, they want to know what life is like it there, and that is the benefit of doing that style of video. So it makes sense why it's number one. So in his 30 newest videos, we have a few new buckets. One is coming to Orlando. So this is coming soon. This is talking about new developments or other things that are going to be the future of the city. And this is where it gets really interesting, because out of the 30 videos, 13 of them are in this category. But the other new bucket that he's been doing a lot more of is live videos. And of the 30 most recent videos, he has 8 live videos. There's a lot of reason for this. One, you don't have to prep and prepare a whole script. You can get bullet points, but then it's more conversational as well. And then he can incorporate his community. So this allows him to get a lot of feedback very real time and not have to have a super highly polished and produced video. And this also helps him put out more volume of content, which we hear people like Alex Hormozy, Gary Vee, and Grant Cardone talk about it all the time, that it's not necessarily putting out one video, it's all about volume. How do you put out volume in a way that works better for you? So here's where it starts to get really interesting. There's a little bit of crossover when it comes to the coming soon and the live style videos, because obviously a live video can fit in any of the buckets of life in Orlando, Disney, theme parks, real estate insights. That is why when I looked at the newsjacking category, he has over 24 videos just in that category alone. What this kind of tells me, he's catching on to a lot of trends. There's a lot of search volume with that, and it really potentially helps bring in a bigger audience, because it could possibly trend and could possibly go viral as well if he kind of hits the right stride with something. That's been the most interesting change for me, is looking at that change in his content strategy. When we kind of take more of the broad stroke and we look at the other 3 categories that I explained at the beginning, is that he only has 5 new community and neighborhood videos, and this could be for 100 reasons. One, it probably could have been pretty hard with COVID or whatever, but 2, he might not need to create as much, and it might be a little harder to go and produce those, storyboard them, so it kind of makes the volume a little bit harder. So there could be a lot of reasons for this. I just wanted to look at that and see the change from 14 to 5. And the one that seems pretty obvious is that he only has 2 home tours and 3 informational videos. And because when you look at those 2 topics, the home tours, when you pick the right home, the right area, the right price point, it can trend. And he has really gotten some of those, definitely in the Disney area in the Golden Oaks neighborhoods, and then a couple other areas like new construction homes, but those are a little bit more tough to go out and do consistently. When you look at the categories of newsjacking, community, coming soon to Orlando, those 3 categories alone are way more searched than just a typical listing or how do you buy or sell or build or whatever. It makes sense of why these changes happened. He built his foundation by doing community videos, and now he's moving towards what is new, what is trending, what is coming towards Orlando, potentially get a little virality talking about news and trending topics like a lot of big YouTubers. Let's break down his videos. So the first video is his Golden Oaks video, which has gotten over 84,000 views in the last 4 months. And then the second video we're going to break down is his Winter Garden video, which talks about being the fastest growing suburb in Orlando and in the entire United States. And this has garnered over 20,000 views just in the last 2 months. So the Golden Oaks video. Golden Oaks is this luxurious, very exclusive neighborhood in Disney that is unlike every other single neighborhood in Orlando. And we get a sense of this from the very beginning. And what's super interesting to me is how he starts his video. If you look at the beginning of the video, he says absolutely nothing. And what happens is he's setting up lighting in his office and he's just tinkering with things. But in the background is this Disney music that's playing that's really starting to reel you in. And if you're a Disney fan, if you understand Disney, that's already starting to pull you in because there's this mystique and curiosity of what is he doing? Why is he doing it? What is he going to talk about? And because he's saying absolutely nothing, but the Disney music allows you to associate what the video is about. And in about 5 or 6 seconds, he speed ramps in and he starts the video. And within the first minute, he breaks down the video and he breaks down Golden Oaks. He gives us an understanding of, okay, this is what the video is going to be about. Here's what I'm going to talk about. Here's why it's important to you, and here's why you should watch. And this is super crucial because the first 1 minute of the video is the most important part of any YouTube video. It's really when the viewer decides, do I want to watch the rest of the video or do I want to leave? So in the first minute, he's doing an introduction where he's really building up the video, and he talks about how Golden Oaks is this upper echelon community. It's super exclusive and it's very private, and this is why he actually wasn't able to shoot the video in the community, because they wouldn't allow him to do it. And that actually helps bolster the point of the video and the point of the neighborhood that is so private and so exclusive that he could not even get in to shoot the video. And he pulls you in and he explained and he sets the scene. He kind of paints his picture for this high-end echelon community that makes you want to watch the rest of the video. And he transitioned using high-end B-roll. This is not stock B-roll. This is B-roll that he has gone and shot of the community itself, and this helps kind of continue this storytelling framework, and it makes it have this cinematic feel. And the main point of the video, he wants to visually show you what it's like living in this upper echelon neighborhood. And if you are someone who is outside of this community, or you're from a different part of the country, or you just want to know what it's like because you don't live there, there's only a couple hundred homes, this is the perfect video for giving you an inside look into this very exclusive neighborhood. And that is something that he is pulling on, and he is giving this insider look into exclusivity that is very intriguing, but he does it in such an interesting way through the Disney, the storytelling, grabbing you and pulling you in that makes you want to watch more. So another interesting thing that he does is he actually opens up this curiosity loop in your mind, because he mentions this Four Seasons neighborhood, and what that does is it creates a little curiosity, intrigue. It's this idea of novelty as well, but really what that means is he makes you wonder, and it's this unresolved question of what is the Four Seasons neighborhood. I know Four Seasons is very high-end, very top-notch, but there's a neighborhood just for that, and that's why he says we'll get into that in a minute, which makes you want to watch longer because you want to learn about that. After the introduction, he breaks down a little bit of the history, connects it to Disney, talks about the anthropology of the neighborhood. So it really helps set the scene and paint the picture. And then he talks about very unique selling points, which is kind of cool, is some of these Disney themed rooms. And I'm not a Disney fan, I would not have one of these in my home, but it's still really cool to look at. He talks about the main selling points of the neighborhood, a lot of questions. He answers a lot of these common questions. Is it a timeshare? What are the size of homes, the types of homes, the different neighborhoods, the price points, and really get into a lot of the nuts and bolts and a lot of the questions that a lot of people are wondering. And then he hits a highly controversial point. He talks about the HOA, which is not an inexpensive cost to have. It is $2,000 a month. And that makes you wonder, why am I paying $2,000 a month? Well, it has a lot of exclusive benefits that only living there gets. And that is why it is the wealthy Disney fans' playground. And he goes into a lot of the amenities of the community, and these are the main selling points of the community. But he didn't do this at the beginning. And he did this by, one, sparking the very controversial point of the high HOA. And after a little bit of this, and then he opens another curiosity loop in your mind where he talks about the Four Seasons Resort again that he brought up at the very beginning, and he talks about it having a $42,000 HOA fee, which is really high, and it makes you wonder, what are you paying $42,000 for, and what do you get in return? And that's exactly what he's playing on. And he resolves both of those loops in a few seconds after, where he breaks down all of the different amenities and different benefits of that $42,000 HOA. And then he ends the video, he answers some common questions, he has a very seamless call to action that seems very natural. Throughout this entire video, his expertise shines through at a very micro level, where he talks about things in such a level of detail and intricacy, where he talks about the different neighborhoods, the $42,000 fee, everything that you get, the different rooms, that really, from a consumer point of view, it makes you feel like he is the neighborhood expert. And this is the exact reason why he probably attracts clients, and especially clients who are fans of Disney. And if you remember at the beginning, this is what I was talking about, is where one of the things that he talks about is Disney and theme parks, and that's where one of his true passions lie. And he connects that with real estate. That is probably one of the most attraction pull-in pieces, is when he brings in his passion and his interest together with business, allowing people who have that same passion, that similar interest, the same affinity with him. And that's the definition of affinity marketing. So in the second video, I want to break down his storytelling, because it is a little bit different. In the first video, he was not able to go into the neighborhood, so he had to do this whole video from his office, and he had to use B-roll that he obviously shot. This is not stock, and he does it well. He uses the B-roll, he has a storytelling framework, and he does it from his office, and it's still very high level, story driven and cinematic feel. But in this video, where he's talking about Winter Garden and it being the fastest growing suburb in Orlando and the nation, he's able to actually go to the neighborhood, and he's able to really take this storytelling to the next level. At the very beginning of the video, it starts off in this very curious and mystique way, where he's driving, and the question at the very beginning that he says that also then pops into your mind is, he basically says, I wonder how long it is to drive from Ovation to Disney. And this opens a question in your head, because he asked it, and then if you have an understanding of the area, or you have that same question in your mind, again, he has an unresolved question, unresolved loop in your mind. This creates curiosity and intrigue, and you want to answer that question. And he talks about all these new changes. Downtown Winter Garden has changed a ton. It has $1 million townhome. It has new this, new that. And that really starts to pull you in, because there's these big facts and big statements. And then he makes one huge statement that really hits it home. And he talks about how Winter Garden is one of the fastest growing suburbs in Orlando and in the entire nation. And right there, he's brought you on this journey, he's made this big point, and it makes you wonder, why is it so fast growing? Would I want to live there? And just like his other video, the point of these neighborhood and community videos for him are to help paint what is life like in these areas. And so going through all of that, he then opens another loop in your mind by mentioning pop stroke, which, if you have no clue what it is, or if you have a faint clue what it is, then you would know it might intrigue you to want to learn more. He kind of uses the same framework as the other video, where he has that hook that grabs your attention and opens a loop, and then in the introduction, he makes some big statements, big facts, talking about why Winter Garden is so compelling, and then he tells you, so first he says Winter Garden is so compelling, and then he says, I want to show you what it's like living here. So you've already had this interest, and he's like, well, I'm going to give you an inside look. And he has this B-roll that he has shot on scene and on site. So this story-driven framework and combining that with a cinematic feel help to combine with a higher retention rate, especially in the very beginning of the video. And throughout the video, it's a very similar structure. So with the hook, with the intro, cinematic B-roll, music, he breaks down the history of the area, the different neighborhoods, and really kind of sets the scene for Winter Garden. He then asks more questions. Well, what if you wanted to buy a house? He goes into the different homes, the different styles, new construction, other real estate questions. And then he says, what if you want to visit downtown? What is there to do? The restaurants and all of the new things that are coming. And he talks about the future of Winter Garden. So he helps paint the vision and really compel you even more by telling you what's there to come. Then he shows you what life is like through the shopping. He goes into two of the bigger areas, Hamlin and Horizon West. And then he closes the loop by explaining what Pop Stroke is, how it's Tiger Woods' new putt-putt place that's kind of like Topgolf. This helps the viewers paint this picture in their head. He's giving me all this value, all this expertise, he's telling me all these specific things about this area that I didn't know. He's doing it in a way that's really simple and I understand it. He's not trying to go into all this data. He's using data to reinforce different points, but he's making it really relatable. And when he tells you he lives in the area, boom, something clicks in a viewer's mind and they're like, hey, I want to buy in this area, I want to move here, I want to work with you, you are the neighborhood expert. And then he finally closes the loop from the very beginning of the video where he asks the question, well, what if you want to drive from Ovation to Disney? How long would it take? And that's what happened. At the very end of the video, he times his drive all the way to Disney. And so that beginning curiosity loop is finally resolved at the end. And for someone who is living there, someone who is a Disney fan like him, they would want to know, well, what if I want to drive from Winter Garden to Disney? How far is it? Again, even from a homeowner perspective to an investor, whatever, when there is that similar interest, you have that affinity in attraction marketing. When we take a step back and we look at these two videos, we have the Golden Oaks video where it's in his office versus the Winter Garden video, which is a little more vlog-esque, vlog style video. And despite the disparity of location and where it's shot, they both follow a very similar framework of storytelling. They have a hook, they have an introduction. He uses a cinematic feel, he uses music, he uses B-roll, and then he kind of sets the scene and paints the picture of the history. And then he goes into like main selling points, unique selling points, things that you would only know if you were an expert. And so he closes these loops throughout the whole video, and you've watched this whole video. And this is how he has such a high retention rate and how he gets thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of views on his videos, which is taking it through these two lenses of storytelling and having this cinematic feel of what it is like, what is life like living there if I was gonna live there. And by doing that, he has people throughout the entire country who are looking into moving to Orlando, and they are doing months and months of research. Guess who pops up before they even make the decision that they want to move? Before they even speak to a realtor, they've already researched, they've already seen him, they already know who he is. They built this KLT, know, like, and trust factor, and guess who becomes the most obvious choice? Because they are the local expert. And that's exactly how he uses this storytelling framework to build this attraction and affinity marketing piece that has allowed him to scale his business 5x or potentially more to a $280 million business. Throughout all of this, I researched a lot of his videos and I came to, at least in my opinion, 3 common threads that tie between every single video that make up his core principles in my point of view of what I think he excels at such a high level and what's really helped him grow his brand, his YouTube channel, and his business. And I want to break those down. So let's go beyond the basics and let's look at what really allows him to make these amazing videos. Number 1 is his communication skills. By far, this is probably one of the most crucial pieces. You can think about the title, you can think about the thumbnail, what camera you want to shoot at, shooting on location, professional, desk, lighting, sound. But at the end of the day, the ability to communicate and present information in such a way helps him paint this picture in your mind. He uses this storytelling framework to bring you on a journey. And that is why his videos excel at such a high level. And his love for story and his love for media comes across exceptionally well with his videos. He does this through a couple things. 1, he has digestible data. So he gives you data, but he dumbs it down, he simplifies it. He doesn't swamp you with these 500 data points and make you think about it. He maybe gives you 1 or 2, and then he dumbs it down as like, what does that really mean for you? And the second point of his communication skills are his expertise and his insider insights. And these come across when he talks about the restaurants in the Golden Oaks neighborhood. He talks about what it's like. He talks about a dish that he likes going up on the rooftop, the views, and that insider insight where it's like, it may seem small, but it helps really show he goes there, he knows it, he's eaten there, he's seen the views, and he is the expert. And he does the same thing in the Winter Garden video. It's these insights that you would not know unless you were a local or an expert in that area. And then the third point of his communication skills is his point of view. He comes across this passion and love. And this, he makes a stand for what he loves and enjoys. And that part is the biggest separation piece, is we all create this content and information is very black and white. But when you have a point of view, you have a side, you have this interest, Disney theme parks, that allow others to connect with. That is the affinity, that is the connection, and that is how you attract like-minded people, and that is how you attract people at scale. This love for video, storytelling, media, cinematic feel comes across in a way that you can tell he is very well researched and very well prepared. My mom used to tell me that I had vomit of the mouth, and what I realized when I started doing videos is that when you don't prepare, you don't do any research, you vomit of the mouth and you rant and you go on these rants. It is very clear that he is succinct. It almost feels like he is using a script, but he's not. He's very natural because of the preparation and the research before the videos. And so that is the second common thread that I want to get into, is his expertise. And having this deep insight and deep research allows you not just to think about what to say, but you think about how do you deliver it, how do you present it, how do you say it, how do you paint it in such a picture with storytelling. And you can't do that if you're always thinking about what you're gonna say. When you don't have to think about what you're gonna say, you can think almost from this 30,000 view of how you're gonna prepare and how you're gonna say it so it comes across. And that presentation is the most crucial part of having a video excel. And so this deep level insight, these insider insights, this expertise really combined with his passion, his love for life in Orlando, Disney, theme parks, create this affinity and attraction marketing. And this is how he pulls in people to his business at such a high level. So the third is the cinematic storytelling framework, where you have this hook, you open a loop, you have this introduction that goes into the main points of the video. What is life really like? And then you have this transition, you have quality B-roll, you use music, and then you set the scene with like the history, the different neighborhoods, the anthropology, like the Disney connection. You talk about the main selling points. You take this person on a journey. You talk about unique selling points, and then you talk about the biggest selling piece at the end of the video, and you close the loop. You resolve the question. This story, this journey that you take the viewer on allows you to have such a high retention rate video. And we have to think of it through this lens of how do you grab that person's attention? How do you keep their attention? How do you make them keep wanting to watch more? And then you end the video. This is his $280 million YouTube framework broken down into 3 core components, and that is how he has been able to grow his YouTube channel, grow his brand, and grow his business. So I hope this was helpful. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Andrew Bayon, and I run a real estate marketing agency called A Impact Media, and we work with 8 and 9 figure leaders in real estate to help them grow their personal brand so they can impact on a higher level. And I create these videos because I have a love and almost marketing nerd passion for storytelling and building a brand. And I just have this curiosity and passion to learn and share what I learned. The reason for it is because I have this mission of wanting to impact 1 billion people, and I've realized I can't really do that on a 1-to-1 level, and I can't even do it on a 1-to-2 level. I have to work through and have to impact 1 person so they can impact 2 people, and those 2 people can impact 4 people. So that's why I create these videos, so we can all build better brands and better businesses by becoming better marketers. So if you liked this video, could you do me the biggest favor in the world? click the like button and subscribe for more content like this. And since I don't really have a cadence, I'll be putting out multiple videos like this a month. You'll have to stay subscribed and notified when new videos like this come out. One last thing before you go, comment below. So with questions that you have, maybe someone that you want me to dissect their strategy so that we can become better, just so that this way I'm not creating videos that are just out of my own